I was listening to the radio the other day, driving in my car, and I heard a local preacher argue, yet again, as they so often do, that you have to decide, you have to implement your free will in order to choose Jesus and in order to obligate him to save you. And that got me thinking, well, you have misunderstood the origin of sin and how it is that we human beings find ourselves in the situation that we're currently in. And it's that misunderstanding that has led you to this faulty conclusion. Well, here's what I mean by that. According to the Bible, sin entered the world as a result of the first man, Adam, and his wife Eve and their rebellion against God. God placed them in the Garden of Eden. They had no temptations around them outside of one command from God, not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Outside of that, they were free to do anything they wanted to. There was nobody else there for them to murder. There were no other women around for Adam to avoid messing with. There were no other objects or neighbors who had things that they might covet. In other words, Adam, who arguably had the freest will of any human being who ever lived, was in an environment free from temptation outside of God's one command. And nevertheless, he used that apparently free-est will in order to rebel against God. The one thing he was told not to do was the one thing that he did. And therefore now we're all fallen into this sinful estate. So how are we now here in the 21st century, we who are fallen in Adam, we who have a natural proclivity toward sinfulness, we who live in a world that is constant, non-stop, everywhere we look there are temptations just bombarding us constantly. How are we in this environment supposed to choose to be righteous or holy or have faith or obligate God, or to clean ourselves up adequately to the point where God will accept us on the base of our earned righteousness? How are we supposed to accomplish any of that, considering that the one man who only had one prohibition against his free-est will to do whatever he wanted to do, if he, under those circumstances, couldn't keep himself, how are we fallen human beings supposed to be expected to keep ourselves? That makes no sense at all. We are fallen, we are depraved, we are sinful, and we are in desperate need of a Savior. And that Savior actually does the saving part completely and utterly, and none of it is left up to us to do. That entire theology, that entire plea that I heard on the radio, that we were supposed to get busy and make a decision and obligate God and clean ourselves up, and that we were going to be the primary factor in the eternal salvation that God was going to ultimately accomplish on our behalf. We were supposed to be the motivation. That makes no sense if you understand how it is that sin came about in the first place. Anyway, just wanted to get that off my chest. See you soon.